Hey there, this is Jody. I am giving you my March recap. So I would say this month was mostly dedicated to audiobooks. There was quite a few neat films that came out and not much in the TV department, but I had the chance to play multiple games. TV was quite light. Downton Abbey was likely the only show, besides the shows I typically watch, the final season. When it came to films, Allegiant came out that month. I actually enjoyed it, not as much as the books obviously, but I love the series. The other one I watched, 10 Cloverfield Lane. There's not that many films that can make my heart, like it was just, that was such a good film. Like I highly recommend if you want to see a thriller. The other film I watched was Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. It was a lot more serious than I had anticipated. So when I watched it, I was like, wait, this is some real stuff. Like I thought it was just gonna be funny. It wasn't just funny. There were some moments, but that was about it. On the gaming front, I obviously played Fallout 4. There's no question about that. I actually finished Life is Strange, finally. And I also played The Walking Dead Michonne's second episode. Very fun. I had the opportunity to play The Longest Dark. Being in the cold and being in the dark and being in the wind, this was like my horror experience. Like if I was in that Divergent and they had those like, what would Jody be scared of? It would be the snow and the cold. And this was one of the scariest things when I was in the wind and cold and I couldn't find a home to stay and have shelter. It was so scary. I don't want to be in this cold anymore. I'm so cold. And then I had to go get a coat. Two other games that I returned to was Skyrim. I always have to return to it. And I also played Star Wars Battlefront. As for the last game, I did a marathon with. It was Borderlands Tales. I was playing it and playing it one weekend, and I just finished the remainder 3 episodes. If you don't like point and click games, for the story, which I love, there is this battle scene in that game. It was so much fun. Like anybody that tells me I don't want to play this game, like just have your friend play throughout the whole game, and then when they get to the mech, just play that. Like that was so much fun. When it comes to audiobooks, I really spent a lot of time driving, and it was perfect because I got through 20 audiobooks. Red Rising has to be one of the highlights. I would say Mars meets Rome, and maybe a little bit of Hunger Games. Such a good book. I highly recommend getting into it if you like sci-fi, if you like survival, if you like maybe even Dune. The other book was Damon. Now this is definitely a gamer's type of book. If you love game developers or anything like that, I highly recommend this one. It's a little bit of a thriller. And another book that I highly recommend is Scorpio Races. It's a very dark in some spots. The horses are not a horse. They're evil water horses. Like a good one to read. Amazing. Two other books that I really enjoyed was In the After and Wither. Wither's a little bit more romance and weird. And obviously there's 15 other books. Grimm Fairy Tales comic books, volume 1 and 2. A Wrinkle in Time, the graphic novel. Yellow Brick War. The Straw King, Heart of Tin. The Death Code. The Isle of the Lost. Breaking Sky. Perfect Ruin, Starflight, Carnival of Secrets, The Bolin Inheritance, The Girl from Everywhere, and Robo Apocalypse. As for other random things that happened in the month of March, my brother had a Kickstarter for a MOBA 1v1 game. It was actually a quite successful Kickstarter. One of the things that I loved about it was the mushroom tier, which was basically challenging him to eat mushrooms, which he hates. And one of the guys that worked on the game had to be a brony, which actually was amazing because when he did, he looked pretty good. As you might know, I hate being super cold. The month of March was a very cold month, so I often had my little panda gloves on at the office driving or anywhere. The other thing that happened in March was I returned to one of my childhood products, Shackley. I enjoy non-toxic, chemical-free products, and I actually became a distributor. So if you are ever interested in these kind of products, I'll hook you up, I'll hook you up. Speaking of my childhood, there was an Amazon trailer that nearly brought me to tears. It had horses. Lastly, if you are a chocolate lover, you've got to try Starbucks Mocha Powder. It's essentially a darker, fudgier chocolate than what you'd get with Hershey or some of those other brands. It is what they use in their mochas. It is amazing if you can make it from home. I will have to share a recipe that you will love if you love fudge or dark chocolate. So keep an eye out for a video with that to come. I hope you enjoyed this March craziness of my wrap up again. Please check the channel for more to come.